Thursday, July 27th. It's been a while since I've done one of these. I just hadn't had the interest or much to talk about. Well, there's been a lot to talk about. I just didn't feel like talking about it here, I guess. But I got some information tonight. If you're looking for gossip or criticism of people online, you won't find it in this video. This video is strictly about things that are going on in Ohio, and specifically Dayton, Ohio, Montgomery County, Ohio. A week ago yesterday, I got sent an obituary of someone I used to get high with. And this guy was probably the last person out of people I got high with that was still alive. So basically everyone I used with is gone that I know of. I really can't think of anyone left. I sponsored this guy. He had been through a lot. And I was pretty shocked. I was pretty shook up, really. It just kind of caught me off guard, I guess, because he was doing so well. But that's, that's part of life. And based on the information we have, maybe part of addiction. We don't know. We don't have all the facts. But we got some more information tonight about some things that are going on with the laws changing and in terms of addiction medicine, and it's really caught my attention. About 2 months ago, we had it was big in our local news. They had an 18-month-old baby dead on arrival due to opioid overdose, and the person who was in care of that child, 3 days later, they OD'd and died. Sarah knew her.
Very well.
Now, we live in what's called a overdose exempt state, which means when someone overdoses and the cops arrive, they typically don't charge them with a crime. So it's not a crime to overdose on drugs. Some states it is. Ohio's not one of them. At time periods, they had tried to do things like internal possession, which means that if you have drugs in your system, they can charge you. Blood tests, drug tests, urinalysis. They could literally charge you with a felony just for dropping a dirty urine. And they had tried to change that, try to go to harm reduction model of treatment, try to save lives instead of punishment through jail and Department of Corrections. So the big law that's changing and in the process of changing has to do with Narcan and Naloxone. Narcan more specifically. Naloxone is the chemical, whereas Narcan is the brand name. So you hear of people overdosing, and there's a medication that brings them back called Narcan. And the state of Ohio has put a limit on how many shots of Narcan a person can receive.
Which is bullshit.
And they're going to continue to bring that number down further. So we met with someone I used to work for tonight who was talking about taking his company and investing in that medication and giving it away for free. And there are other companies in Ohio that are already doing this.
And we're going to help with that.
Yeah, it's big out west. We know some people online that do it already. Package it, sell it, deliver it, give it away. This is a chemical that is very cheap to make and is very expensive. One of the products of Narcan, when it came out in 2014, it cost, I think it was $300 for 2 dosages. It now costs $4,500 for 2 dosages. Obviously, if you have private insurance, it's free, and it's typically only prescribed to people who are prescribed opiates or have a history of chemical dependency. I stand at these different points in life, and you think, I live in an area that has the biggest drug problem in the world. More people overdose in Montgomery County, Ohio, than anywhere else in the world. You can Google that right now, and it's going to say Dayton, Ohio. That's a fact. And they're trying to limit the number of the medication to revive people from the overdose. Now, this is a huge argument amongst people in medicine, in recovery, at a state level, federal level, local level, around the world. And my question's always, if someone is a diabetic, is there a limit on insulin if they're trying to revive them? If someone has a heart attack, is there a limit on, I think they get nitroglycerin, I think.
Yeah.
Is there a limit on that? If we're saying that heroin addiction is a disease, that's I'm going to say that. But the American Medical Association says that as well. The government says that as well. Yet, the state is allowed to put a limit on what they're allowed to use to counteract that disease at its fatal point, at the point where it kills people.
That's a contradiction.
And I think it's backwards. It's a lie. It's this thing about money and what it really costs. Right before this video, I just was doing just like real brief research, and I was just looking at where all they talked about was it exceeded our budget already for this year, so we're not going to pay for it anymore. We're going to put a limit on it.
So if a diabetic, if their blood sugar is down to 25 and they're basically about to die, and you have to give them an EpiPen, and their blood sugar only goes up to 45, and you have to give them another EpiPen, but the state's not going to pay for it, and ambulance says no, we can't do it.
I mean, is that where we're at?
Is that the same thing?
And that's my question. But of course, who do I ask that question to? I've never in my life been to a place where I'm like, who do I write? Who do I email? Who do I call?
We're going to be doing it.
Who?
We'll find it.
The governor, the representatives.
Just because they're an addict doesn't mean their lives don't matter. We're going to find it.
Right. So it's odd for me to be in the position to try to figure out who to contact, who to call, and who to organize, and how to do this. I've been in this thing and around this thing for years and years. Once again, is there a limit on the defibrillator? What limits do they put? If you Google Ohio Narcan, you will see how Middletown, Ohio, which is Butler County, already has a 3-strike. Once you get 3 shots of Narcan, that's it. And I guess, according to them, they just sit there and watch you die. They just watch you lay there on the ground and wait for you to stop breathing, I guess. Don't understand how that's legal, but they're in the process of making it so.
Some people will laugh at that, and some people will say, well, good, they deserve to die, they're junkies. But what if that was your brother? What if that was your mother, son, wife, daughter, mother, father? it's not so funny when it's a loved one.
And a lot of people have a not in my backyard attitude, not in my life attitude. And of course, we're passionate about it or involved in it because it is our life.
Yeah.
But, we're talking about it and asking about it as a topic because we're getting to a place where I can neither confirm nor deny if I'm going to be shipping out free Narcan to people.
Yeah.
Because it's illegal for me to kind of say that. But, yeah, I can neither confirm or deny if I'll be shipping out Narcan to people here soon. If it's free to me. If it doesn't cost $4,500 for 2 dosages. If it's going to save someone's life. If it's going to people that are actually going to put it in their car because they think they might be in a position to be around people who could possibly overdose. This has saved a lot of lives in Montgomery County. This has saved a lot of lives in Ohio. And a lot of deaths they're having is because people were not prepared.
If this drug would have been around when my mother was alive, it could have possibly saved her life.
Yeah.
And it's so unfortunate that it wasn't, because my mother could still be around, maybe.
In whole sides of my family
Yeah.
that could be alive due to a nasal spray,
Yeah.
due to a little shot that cost $4 for them to make.
So I'm very passionate about passing this medication out, maybe.
Yeah, if that were possible. And we would we would pay for the shipping cost
I
ourselves.
absolutely would.
Because we don't mind paying for that
No.
out of our own pocket.
If it's going to help save somebody's life, absolutely.
Yeah. I could care less about $4 to $14
No.
in shipping if I know that it's going to a household or in someone's car that doesn't have access to it or can't afford it.
Absolutely.
If we're giving it for free, like is what we're talking about with someone I used to work for and other companies in Ohio that are trying to give it out for free, let's put this on the streets. Let's put it in the right person's hand who has the training and is able to say, you know what, I know what I'm doing here. And if I see someone who's overdosed from an opiate or an opioid, they don't have to die today. Now, obviously, once the shot's given, you have to call 911 and all that stuff. And some people get nervous about that. But, like I said, we live in an overdose exempt state. So when someone overdoses and they're given Narcan, there's not that fear of if they're going to be charged with stuff.
I'm alive today because of Narcan.
I'm alive today because of Narcan.
Yeah.
We both have experience with Narcan. I was not happy when they gave it to me because it puts you into withdrawal. But after 30 minutes, that goes away. But it, that was then. It saved my life. I wasn't thinking about that then. And any active heroin addict isn't really thinking about staying alive. It's just one of those things where, this thing's coming to a head. I'm watching people die, people close to me. And I'm thinking, how, they're talking about building more treatment centers or changing this law and that. There's not going to be anyone left.
Exactly. And let us also express that addiction does not discriminate. Brandon and I, we own a beautiful home. We have a beautiful family. We do normal, wonderful things. Addiction doesn't discriminate. It can get anybody.
Yeah.
We've known judges, policemen,
Doctors,
Lord.
lawyers.
We know a doctor that was just busted again.
For drugs.
Yeah.
And there are people that are sober a lot longer than her or I that have very little. and there are people that are not sober very long that have $1 million homes. It's not about all that.
No.
It's not about the color of your skin or who you pray to or different types of strata in society. It's about this disease. It's no different than another disease. This disease is fatal. It kills people. It's
every second of the day.
yeah. And we live in a place where it kills more people than anywhere else in the world. So it's hard for us to hear that everyone was excited that they were going to change some laws. And actually it was earlier this year. I think it was the beginning of this year that our governor signed some laws making sure that the funding was set up to pay for things, to get Narcan to everybody. I was trained to do it about 4 years ago. I was given it for free, but it was a nasal spray. And now they're starting to take some of that away, limit it, change it, and it's scary. So we did this, I did this, we talked about it to those of you that would have any interest. If you were able to receive Naloxone, hit us up, hit me up, hit her up, whatever. Because we think it's important. I know there's two, maybe a third one of you that would have some interest. The rest of you probably could care less. But I could be wrong. There could be more. I don't know anything for sure yet. It's still in the beginning stages and just being talked about. But we're trying to start that conversation because we're tired of going to funerals.
Yeah, it's been a hard week for us.
Yeah, we lost somebody close. Thank you to those that knew about it and checked on me specifically.
Yeah.
I appreciate that a lot. You know, I did a video a while back on resentment and grudges. And someone hit me up specifically and said that video really helped them with a long-term grudge they had with a family member. That's why I do these. That's the one person I was supposed to do these for. So my work here is done. Now, that doesn't mean I'm done doing these. I know some of you would prefer that. But that's how I do it. Once that one person's helped, my work's done. Any person beyond that is a blessing or a gift or a miracle, whatever you want to call it. I don't know that I really sat out to do this, to try to help people or reach people. I just started talking. But that person got in touch with me and said it really helped them change their perception or perspective on a resentment and grudge they had.
And that made it worth it.
All worth it. All the headaches. To call me a junkie, thank you.
Yeah.
That'll always be a badge of honor where I come from.
Me too.
Because I didn't wake up dope sick today. I didn't wake up thinking about who I was going to have to steal from to get a fix. I didn't think about running from the cops today. I've lived a good life today.
Shoot, we had Penn Station.
Yes, we did.
We got money in the bank.
Yeah, life's good.
Yeah.
So, to those of you that want to continue this conversation, you know how. This is important to us because we're at a point where it's time to do something.
We do things in our community. You know, we make sure that we help those that are in need in our community.
Because people did it for us.
Absolutely. We helped a girl last month. We made sure that she was put up for 3 days. We paid money out of our pocket to make sure she was put up for 3 days because we were giving back.
Because people did it for us.
Yes.
And when we did that, she cried.
Yeah.
And thanked us and said, I can't pay you back. And I explained it to her that she has to pay it forward. We don't want any money. We don't want I just want her to stay clean and help someone else.
Yeah.
Because that's how it stays alive. A lot of people, especially in the 12-step community, would say, oh, I'm sober because of my first step. I get what they're saying, and it's not that they're wrong. I'm a little different. I think that I'm sober because of the 12-step in someone else's program. They worked their 12-step and came and helped me, or came and helped Sarah, or came and helped you, and we're sober today.
Yeah.
That's how I was able to get to step one. I couldn't have gotten there without those people. So, we're just at one of those turning points where, and especially with what happened to a friend of mine, I start looking at doing meaningful things on a daily basis that he maybe didn't get an opportunity to do. I have the opportunity to do them on a daily basis. It's just sometimes I'm wrapped up in work or music or whatever, and I don't do them. And today I had that chance, and I got put in the position of, would you like to do more? So, we talked about it. It starts with a video of saying, hey, we might know about some opportunities for medication to help revive people if there were overdoses. Obviously, this corner of the internet, there's not a whole lot of interest. I'm just putting it out there because I think
we can get it around.
We just think it's something that, Sarah said we should make a video. I said, why not? Obviously, we got a lot of people to talk to in our community that we know, but they're just going to go to the same place we're going to go, or other agencies like that. So, that's where we're at. This thing saved our lives.
Yeah.
And because it saved my life, I have a life. I'm married to someone I actually know and love and care about. I have a family that I actually know and love and care about, all because someone didn't put a limit on how much Narcan I had in an emergency room. Now, the Narcan we're dealing with today is in ambulances, and that's the difference in funding. I get that. But we got to get something done, or they might as well just start building a bigger graveyard.
Let's talk about why, real quick. Let's talk about why they're limiting it, Brandon.
The American government invaded Afghanistan during the harvest season for the poppy in 2001. And if you watch the raise the opiate use in America over the next 15 years, from a country where we controlled the import and export of, so we controlled that country where 90% of all the opiates came from. Kind of strange, isn't it? All of a sudden,
ironic?
Don't you think? You see this massive rise in opiate use, opiate abuse, and opiate overdose. I could go on and on about how the American government, because we got to understand, a kilo of heroin on the streets of Afghanistan is between $11 and $14.
And that's a kilo.
A kilo, so 2.2 pounds. I don't know the street price in Dayton, but I can guarantee you it's got to be around 10 grand.
Insane.
So, at the end of the day, we're dealing with something that is deadly, killer. So, I kind of did this because my friend died.
Our friend died.
Yeah. Like I said, sometimes family's deeper than blood. And I'm doing okay. I think I'm about 90%. I definitely want to do meaningful things on a daily basis. I want to do things that matter. That's not always sitting in front of a computer or staring at my phone. Sometimes it is, not always. And
this is us giving back.
yeah, this is an opportunity. This isn't just something that we wanted to let pass. If we have an opportunity to maybe have a medication or a tool that could save someone's life, we will do that.
Absolutely. No hesitation.
Yeah, because it's way more important in someone's hands that can really put it to use.
Yeah.
On a daily basis, I'm not around people that are overdosing. Yes, when I'm at meetings, when I'm at work, yeah, there's sometimes people around that are using, but, you know, there's days that go by where that's just not the case. Some people are around it on a daily basis, 24/7. If you're in that position, let us know. And as always, if you're in a position where you're looking to get clean, needing help, wanting to talk about it, we're also here for that. I absolutely don't think I have some sort of superhuman power to save the world or get everybody clean. But I can listen. You know, I can tell you my experience. I can tell you what it was like for me. I've shared a lot of that in the past. And I know some stuff that works. So I really appreciate, again, some of you that checked on me. You know, sometimes when things happen in life, we can tend to isolate a bit. And I chose that here and there. So I appreciate y'all checking in, those that did. But at the end of the day, every day, it's much love from us, you know. So this one's for Troy, most definitely.
We love you, Troy.
Yeah, I don't know if they got YouTube in heaven, but I'm pretty sure they got some variation.
You're definitely there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of love for you, man, and just thank you guys for being there for us through hard times and good times and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like I said, let us know, anyone that's interested. And for those of you that just don't know anything or care about this, just because it's not important to you. But if you want to keep this topic going, keep it going.
This means so much to Brandon and I because we've lost so many that we love, and we don't want to lose any more. So if there's anything we can do to prevent that, we are definitely going to try. And you know, we'll do anything we can, and we've been trying, and we're going to continue trying.
This is what we do.
It's our purpose.
Yeah.
You know, I believe with all my heart that, you know, our higher power, you know, gave us a purpose. And our purpose was to raise our children and to help those that are still suffering. That's our purpose in life.
Yeah.
I truly believe that.
As do I. You know, I was telling Sarah, everyone I use drugs with, hard drugs with, is dead, officially. They're all gone. And I've talked about it in the past, that sort of survivor's guilt of, why do I get to be here? You know, he was the last one. And
he was a good one.
yeah, and that's why he was important, very, very important.
Oh.
And it always will be, and we'll keep him alive in our memories. And
Before we stop this, can we tell?
Yeah, that's a good story. Maybe I'll tell you guys in a different video, in a different time, a really funny celebrity story at a 12-step meeting with my friend Troy. It's pretty funny. I'll just say that basically we ran into a celebrity at a meeting, and I'll tell you that story sometime, just not tonight. So, to those of you that have lost people to addiction, you know what I'm talking about. But we got a lot of love for y'all, so you guys have a good Friday, have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Good night.
Good night.